Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me on my channel, Homeschool Treasure. Today I am going to be reviewing a spelling program called Spelling You See. This is a program that I absolutely recommend for any homeschooling families out there. This is a really good, strong option, and we have been using it for many years, and I am very happy with it. So I've got here in front of me level B and level E. This program has 7 levels, so A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. So presumably that's grade 1 until grade 7. But what I really appreciate is that they don't label it as grade 1 and grade 2, that sort of thing. And they very explicitly say in the teacher's manual that, that is absolutely done on purpose, and that spelling is a skill, it's a developmental skill, and that you should be placing a child in a level that's based on their skill and not just based on their age, because age is arbitrary. So I believe you can go on their website for Spelling You See, and it'll ask you a few questions to see what level your child is at, and to help kind of do a placement test, so to speak. But, it's very gentle. Don't be intimidated by the word test. So I have 3 kids, and for 2 of them, I started them on level B, just because I think we were maybe more like 7 or so when we started. I felt like level A was just a little too easy for them. And I'll do a flip through of like a little bit of level B. And then my oldest one started on level C. Yeah, so I can talk a little bit more about our personal experience with it later. Let's get into it. So it comes with a teacher manual. You'll get a teacher manual, and then you will get a student workbook. So here's the student workbook here. And it comes as a part 1 and part 2. So the one that I have right here in front of me is part 2, as you can see. And definitely for this level, there is a difference between part 1 and part 2. It, gets more challenging as you go. Although I would say with the other books, you don't see, as much growth or much change between part A and part B. But I wouldn't say it's too much of a jump or anything like that, because they will have done it for all of level A and half of level B, all the same type of stuff before. So they'll have done it for a year and a half before adding kind of something new. So here we are. This is part 2. So, and I really like that they put it in 2 separate books, because it is, where are we at here? Okay, it is quite thick. Not super thick, but definitely not thin. So I think it would be quite intimidating if it was all in one book, and I think the book would be, if your kids are anything like mine, it might be quite damaged. So it's nice to get in the middle of the year to be able to start with a fresh book, and also have that sense of breaking it up so that you have that sense of accomplishment, that, hey, if you're somebody or a family that does, prizes or rewards for finishing something, it's nice that it's kind of a reasonable chunk of work, and you have that. And if you don't, well, then you still have that sense of accomplishment that you finished this book, and so you get that sense of accomplishment twice, in the middle of the year and at the end of the year. So I really appreciate they have a unique way of doing spelling. I know the way that I was raised to spell, we were given 10 to 15 words, and we would study those words. I don't think we knew how to study them, but so I really love that this book kind of teaches you what kind of things, what kind of patterns should you be looking for in words. So when I was just left with the blank list, I didn't know what I'm supposed to really do other than try my hardest to memorize that word, and then the teacher or the parent would give me the spelling list, and there you go. And that method, it works for some kids. And it might be something that works better for your kid than this method, right? So, but this is an option. If you are struggling with the list thing, or it's boring, or that's not going well for you, I think this is a very, very strong alternative, and I would absolutely suggest it and recommend it, and this has been great for us. I did have one of my kids that I was on the fence whether this was the right thing for them. It really worked for my oldest because it's very, very gentle in how it teaches spelling, and so you don't even realize that you are learning in a sense. And so that really gentle approach worked with her. With my second, I think, maybe a spelling list where you explicitly know that, you are being tested, maybe that works better. So I thought about putting this curriculum away. I felt like it wasn't quite working for her. And I ended up doing that, and I now regret it, and I wish that I had just kept with it and kept going, because it does work. Okay, so here they have these, what they call vowel chunks, and so the student needs to recognize these chunks and find them in the passage. And this book, the theme is nursery rhymes. So you've got I'm a little teapot, short and stout, here's my handle, here's my spout. And they go around and they find these vowel chunks. Perhaps just ignore the ones that we have circled on this page. We were doing a different exercise, so we didn't necessarily find the chunks that they were talking about. So anyways, that's what you do over here. And this is all about then finding patterns in words, right? And recognizing things that maybe you can't sound out, right? And you're going to read this with your child. So this is a good opportunity to hear them reading out loud to you. And then on this side of the page, they're taking that exact same I'm a little teapot passage, and it might not be the whole passage on this side. It might just be the first part of the passage or the last, or it might be the whole thing, but they will just copy it. So they're learning to read through copy work and through chunking. That is the basis of this program. And what I love is that this is open and go. There is no prep work for you as a homeschooling mom or dad, and the kid knows what to do. And they also know what to do year after year because the pattern is the same. They might be introduced to more chunkings to find. They will be introduced to, more challenging reading passages and that sort of thing. But the pattern is the same through all of the books. And aside from the first one, book 1, level A, and the first half of this, that I'll show you that they do more individual words, a little bit more like a spelling test, so that, they have the word hat and they're like, at, and they write it down. And it's really nice in the book because they'll have boxes. So when you're dictating to them in level A and the first book of level B, they know that I'm telling them a word that's going to have 3 letters or 4 letters. So that's a nice little helpful thing to hand young ones that are learning. So here you go. 19, it starts with 19A. They do the chunking and they do the copy work. That would be like Monday. Tuesday, they do it again. They circle the chunks. They read this to you. They do the copy of the work. Wednesday, they do it again. And then Thursday, they do the chunks, and they have what's called a no rule day. So they can just write whatever they want. Here we've got, I like Sheshlin brand toys. They are so cute, and I got a cat. So they can draw a picture. There's room to draw a picture here. I don't know. It says no rules, so they can do whatever they want here. My older two, when one of them was doing this book, they chose to just do the copy work, do it again as copy work. I think because they were also already had a journal that they were keeping, so they kept this strictly as their spelling and would just copy whatever the passage was, keep it the same from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday kind of thing. And then on Friday, that's when they get dictation. So they've been working with this, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They're circling the words, they're noticing the patterns in the words, they're reading this, they're reading it to you. And then this is why you have your teacher manual book. Inside of it, in the back, it'll give you the passage, and you can see from a different week here, like week 25, it is Little Boy Blue, come blow your horn, the sheep's in the meadow, the cow's in the corn, but where is the little boy who looks after the sheep? So you are not going to read, but what's cool is that your child, who's presumably about 7 years old, is going to be writing this just from, dictation. And I think that's pretty amazing, and working towards spelling all of these words correctly. Now, when you give it to them, you are still giving it to them, one word at a time. Little, and I'll wait for them to write it, and I'll say boy, and then blue, and you also let them know about any commas and periods, and I'll say, okay, I'm starting a new sentence, indicating to them that they should start with a capital. When your kids get a little older, you might end up saying, I'll say to them, little boy blue, and I'll wait for them to write it. And then I'll say, come blow your, and I'll kind of give them 2 or 3 words at a time. So that is the pattern, and it carries on in the other books as well. When you get up to level E, they don't have a no rule day. That day will be a dictation day. So they have 2 dictations, which I think is awesome because that way they get to practice twice. So you do a dictation, and if it didn't go very well, that's okay. We're going to do it again tomorrow. And I love they're very positive. So if you see in here, so they have a lot more circling to do. They have some more chunks, consonant chunks and vowel chunks, and they find those patterns in here. Then they do the copy work, and they do that all week long, the same passage. And then, on Thursday, day 4, they will do a dictation. So I use my teacher manual book, which is this one for level E. And they like to write down how many words did you get correctly. And I think what's awesome with this is that, you're not just then practicing 15 words. I'm sure there's chosen words within here that you're learning, but you're also, there's a good, 50, 60 words here. Whoever does a spelling test with 60 words. So I think it's a great opportunity to practice many. Thanks so much for joining me, and follow along for more homeschool content.